Okay, so we're going to give this hive an inspection. Kind of give an idea of how I have mine all set up. They are running in a single brood chamber. This is one of my original colonies from last year. Our son painted. This hive struggled all last year, had chalk brood. They ended up requeening about this time last year, so late August, and she did good. They built up enough population. Luckily the winter was mild, winter from 2019, 2020, and they survived all winter in a single box. They had enough resources, and that was it. I wrapped them up. But look here. So the new queen in this hive that they ended up making is awesome. She got rid of the chalk brood. They had a little bit of chalk brood this spring, but just when it was wet in late June, late April, early May. But we'll pull these boxes off. So this is all brood chamber. This was a super that I put on that I extracted a few weeks ago. These hives behind me, I pulled 3 deeps off them and extracted, it was like 147 pounds of honey, it was like 14 gallons worth of honey. And that came from just these 2 hives here. But we'll get into those another time. Actually, I'm going to take that off there. So I gave them this. I don't expect them to fill it out or anything. I just gave them that. They could clean the frames out. And then when I condense them, I can shake them all down into these 2 boxes. So I leave the queen in the bottom box all summer. This box is theirs. I don't take any honey to extract out of it or anything. And then, in another, I don't know, it's late August now, probably October, I'll pull the queen excluder, and then they have this whole deep of honey, and then whatever else they have on the edges for them. That way she's not up and down, a little bit of brood. It's just, they're way more efficient when they're in one box, one brood chamber. They usually don't put too much honey there, and it's just straight brood. So actually I'll pull a couple of frames out here, hopefully without making a mess. We're kind of in a bit of a dearth right now, so without causing any robbing, push these over and have a look here. A couple of these, they are still working on drawing out. And you know what? Right, okay, so these ones here, I actually moved her down 2 weeks ago. They were filling this out, and all summer she's actually been in both of these. So that's why, the majority of that's all honey there. There's no eggs, no larvae. And then they've just got some brood that is hatching out from when she was up in this box. And then they'll backfill that once they finish drawing that out. It's the first time I've used these gloves, just to give them a try. Here's without dropping it. Get rid of these old cups here from when Queen was up here. Oh yeah, it's all honey. Oh no, it's all over my glove straight. But you can see that's solid honey. That's probably a 7 or 8 pound frame. Get rid of these. Nothing in them. And they're working good. They'll be able to fill the rest of this box out once the goldenrod blooms. We're only a couple weeks out from when that flow should start for the fall. Let's have a look here. So yeah, you can see that's all capped honey. all nectar that they're working on capping. And same deal over here. And so on and so forth. So I won't worry too much about that. Just gonna set this box off here. Alright. What we'll do is we'll put that up. Throw the lid on them just to keep any robbing down. Alright, so pull this excluder off. They don't have it glued down too bad because it's only been on here for a couple weeks, I think. Alright, let's have a look. See if we can find the queen on this one. I'm 0 for 3 today. This queen is marked, but if I remember correctly, a lot of her marking has come off. These guys are not happy with it here. Yeah, see, so you can have the honey on the outside. Just have a quick look, make sure she's not on here. Toss that frame down there. Have a bit of rain. Alright, so she's got this laid right out. I don't understand why they're not really drawing this section out, but anyways, it is what it is. There's eggs throughout. So this whole half here, they must have been working on backfilling it with nectar, and then when I put her down in the bottom and excluded her there, she's then got ahead of them and filled that out. So, yeah, this whole thing is eggs as well. I like these gloves, actually. They breathe a bit better than the rubber ones. And oh yeah, she's got this laid right out big time. Oh, and there she is right there. Got a little green dot on her. She's pretty golden color. Hopefully you can see her there, but she's really brought this hive back around. Put her back in there before she goes away. Now let's keep going. So, and there you go. There's a frame. Any of this spottiness is bees that have hatched out any of these holes. They've either got an egg in them or the bees have already backfilled it with nectar. You can see larvae here, and then that's all this brown capping is all the babies. And once again there as well. It's not a bad pattern, it's just they've backfilled, they've beat her to it. And she's got eggs all throughout this whole thing, so I mean these are going to be solid sheets in another week and a half. So that's just with condensing her into a single brood chamber in 2 weeks. And then here you go. There's a frame right there. So once again, not spotty brood pattern, just they've backfilled with nectar. I mean, same thing. What's not laid out or what is not capped is all larva. I know a lot of people that do the single brood chamber will overwinter them in the bottom. They'll take all the honey, feed heavy when they condense them into a single box, just the sugar water. Yeah, I was successful in kind of doing that last year in this one, just based on how they worked out. I had to do that. I mean, they didn't have enough population for 2 boxes, nor did they have the second box even drawn out. So, queen cup. But once again, and then she's backfilled every one of those. So I guess my play on it is not so much taking all the honey, like a commercial operation would be, to let them fill, and then I've got a better idea that when she's down here and they have a whole full beak, I know that there's around 60 to 70 pounds of honey in there, plus whatever they have on the outside in this lower box. It's plenty. I don't have to worry about feeding. And she's got an egg in every one of those that isn't capped. So I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Getting a little bit fired up here. Let's see what we got here. And that is all pollen. Solid pollen. Just absolutely packed full of pollen. Red, orange, yellow, some green. And we'll just have a quick look at this last frame here. Once again, all pollen, and the top is all honey. And she hasn't made it over here to lay, but I don't expect her to, so. So we've got 6, 7 solid frames of brood in this hive, with no signs of swarming or anything of that sort. So one other thing that I did this year as well is I put a slatted rack on the bottom of all the big hives. Obviously the nukes don't have them. This was the one that I purchased, and then I just took all the dimensions off of it and then just made the rest. We'll see how that works over winter. I only had two hives last year, but when it was hot, even with the vented rims I have on them, they would beard like crazy. This year's been pretty hot. We've had some pretty consistent, 1 or 2 weeks with 30-degree temperatures and some high humidity, and I haven't seen any bearding with that slatted rack. Kind of gives them a little more bee space, and with the slats, they don't build it up or build comb underneath it. So I guess we could pull that off there. We can take a quick peek at it. I got my handles on this one. It was kind of silly when I built it. So you can see, here's the slatted rack. And I mean, look at all the extra bees that are down in there. That gives space for, if they were trying to be in that brood chamber, then, would that cause swarming? I don't know. Got a couple of cups here that I missed that I'll take off on here. These are good. Oh, those guys in there, I'm sure I'm going to crush some, but I mean, there you go. There's no comb between the bottom of the frames on the slats. This on the egg, just got to work it over. So it'd be interesting to see how that works in the winter. give them a little bit more airflow. Get that on there. I don't think we need to give these guys any pollen or anything. They have tons of pollen. There, and then we'll toss this top box on. It's stuck to it. Okay, those guys can be on. These are the vent shims that I make. They just got some screen in them. A lot of people, I mean, I guess if you had 100 hives, you wouldn't want to be making them for 100 hives, but once again, less bearding. It allows more airflow for the honey. Less work the bees have to do by drawing the air out of the hive. And in the winter, I leave this on. And then I pack this full of burlap and insulate it, and that seems to be really good with drawing the moisture of the hives, but we'll get into that if I do an overwintering type video. I don't run like conventional lids on all of mine. I built a few of them, and anyways, these are just old chunks of a cabinet, and yeah, I just run these on the top. I find it gives them a good overhang in the rain. Keeps the snow off of it in the winter, and even a bit of sun gives them a bit of shade when they're down lower. But yeah, I run on these. Just some busted up patio slabs to hold everything on. All right, take care.